It's
ready.
Yes, we're going. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to that man because I'm going to sit down and shut up.
Welcome to Sacred Grounds. This is Sacred's checklist.
Hello, everybody.
Make sure you're, let's see if you're checked in. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Welcome to Sacred Grounds with Donaldo Brady as the current host of this, the longest running open mic in the known universe, serving up good food and fine poetry since 1972. Please support this reading by enjoying the food and drink served here. Let's have a big hand for Teddy. And I saw Fiona here in the afternoon. Our host. She's still here. Poetry of all kinds, ladies and gents, is welcome. And we ask you to please respect the mic. Don't kiss it, don't stroke it, don't abuse it. Keep conversations to a whisper. Put phones on mute or vibrate. And don't distract the speaker or pass in front of him or her without throwing things at him or her. Like, no, sorry, sir. No, that's wrong. Also, keep to the time. Ooh, keep to the time limit. Boom, boom. Usually 5 minutes, but that can change into an eternity with the wrong speaker. And remember, we have two shows, the 7-ish and the 8:30-ish. And for this reason, I ask for generosity. Going short helps with our tradition of getting everyone on the mic. So, go short. Okay, so if you want to be in the proverbial loop, we have an opt-in email list and a Facebook group. Yes, we stream the video. And this is handy in 5 ways. Count them, 5 ways, folks. 1, you can view in from home. 2, family or friends can see you live or later on. 3, if you want to hear so-and-so, Sammy so-and-so, Eddie so-and-so, Billy so-and-so's poem again, why, you can. 4, want to do a self-critique? Not on your life. There's nobody here wants to do a self-critique. But if you really want to, and 5, it is a way to put the word out. Yours, mine, ours, seconds, minutes. The word is out. Remember, the ongoing theme, never doubt that a small group of committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Margaret Mead. The evening's theme is Harbor
Resentment.
Harbor Resentment.
Harbor Resentment. Harbor Resentment. Also, next week's feature will be.
Next week's feature will be.
I
didn't write it down. So
I didn't write it down. It's next week's feature.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Always
a star. Always a star.
Kick ass. If you don't mind me saying so.
Oh, now it's the first show. The keynote will be the keynote.
The cursive writer, right over there.
Oh, Sandarel. While our feature is the
Glenn Meisenheimer, all the way from
from Thailand. Came around the world just to be here.
Just to come here.
Who will give the Queen's Wave? The Queen's Wave. Okay, the Queen's Wave. As for the second show, the last word will be.
The last word is Jacob. Is Jacob here? Oh, Jacob, thank you. Very good.
He's here. He will be the last word. The mini feature is.
Is Rob here?
And we have Rob Snyder's all the way in the back end. He's not talking tonight. He's saving it all for the mic. Yeah. And we have prizes.
Oh, let me go through these prizes because I'm not. These are the door prizes. Now
these are the door prizes.
I just was given to me. It says Manhattan, a natural history of New York City. You'll notice the city on top and the not city down there.
And of course, that's the first volume of 38.
39. That's not big. Politics, war, and empire: the rise of Britain to a world power. They went to Ireland first. And they practiced what's his name?
The Queen's Wave again.
What's his name? What's his name?
The dictator
what's his
guy.
name?
Give that out. Which one? We have so many.
What was the guy that overthrew the king for a while, and then he invaded Ireland? What's the name of that guy?
No clue.
Okay. Trouble with poetry.
Trouble with poetry.
Billy Collins will tell you. The Sink by Susan Griffin. This is an old volume. And if you're a teacher into teaching tolerance. I bet we could use that.
That's good.
In the Lighthouse of all places. And then Prince Charles, and this was donated by Rob. It's a great set of musical pieces, in case you want to know about that. And then we have
Socks.
Just in case. Who brought these up here just now? Oh, okay. Yes, socks.
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 Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, so we got those. And then in case those don't float your boat, as I like to say, you can be the keynote.
Keynote.
Sandra will be the last word, which
Last word.
Jacob is.
Jacob.
Co-pilot. Somebody just keeps me sane and
Antoinette.
grounded. And stop that doing. And then the mini feature,
The
which
mini
is
is
of
Rob,
course,
Rob.
And then choosing the theme or prompt, which this week is the daily.
Harbor
theme,
Resentment. Harbor Resentment.
You'll have a chance to do that.
In
And
case
if
people
you're-
don't know how to get there.
Oh yes, at the end of the evening, you'll notice that you signed in next with the name next to your number. You know what I mean?
No.
And at the end, I take numbers and shuffle them up and draw them at random.
We have a waffle.
So stay
And
till
a
the
waffle.
end.
Waffle.
Stay
And this
till
is
the end.
places where I'm going to be showing or appearing or featuring, so you can come get that later. This is my copy of a wonderful, great book, and in April, we're going to be doing something special with the people who are in here. It's going to be great, but I have it in case my wife shows up because she said, "Can I read something in that book?" I said, "Yes, you can." So we may do that. Anyway, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm done. I shall stop.
Be advised, although we record the evening and we talk way too slowly, if an audience member wishes to do so, please ask permission. We'll assume you've done so should we notice recordings being made.
Con permiso.
And with that, now, how about the keynote?
Oh, the keynote.
Keynote!
Oh, the keynote, cursive, yes.
Cursive writer.
Please come forward. And the cursive writer will, the keynote always comes back to do the open, then I give the keynote this so he can write down what he says and who said it so that I don't always write Charge of the Light Brigade by Charles Hartree on the Deaf Aid.
I got it.
In which
You
Doris
do.
finally gets her oaths.
Excuse me. That so weird. I got you. I'm just getting
That was on camera.
Well, that's okay.
I'm
I'm getting very weird.
Thank you.
That
Weird
time-
is good.
I'm so tired of talking into microphones, I guess. By the way, the Prince Charles CD is good. It's a fun CD. All right, I'm going to read two pieces. I was at the Bay Area Generations last Monday, and Just Delay, who some of you may know, has come here a few times. When I first met her, she's a wonderful poet, and she's still very young, and she is growing. So this is called Black Like That. Black is bold, it is in your face, not to be confused with anything around it. It's capable of absorbing everything while it's maintaining its richness. See, black is unique, jazz, rock, whatever the sound. It was black before it was blues. Without black, everything would be flat. Black is flavor, adding spice to everything around it. And to keep people from living upland life. Black is power. Black is beautiful. Black is me. And this is, again, Just Delay, Brown Skin. One look at us makes it obvious that we have been kissed by the sun, that we bathe in the moonlight, and that the stars are our friends. When God created brown skin, he took great care, using magnificent shades, no two looking the same, from golden brown to butterscotch, caramel, cocoa, midnight, and everything in between. It is all good. Love your brown skin. It's me. It's you. Yeah.
Attributions.
Thanks.
Give him another round of
Okay.
applause.
Next up is Letitia Garcia Bradford.
Letitia.
Letitia.
Give her a nice round. She hasn't been here in a while.
Thank you, guys.
Give it up. You can see her on using her 440 on the quarter mile bar. She can race.
Really? Okay.
I had a dream.
This is great for me to be here tonight. I've had a bridge moratorium, meaning I can't cross the bridge because it costs so much. But as it would be, my dear former husband, father of my 3 children, is up at UCSF right now. And I made the trip to see him, and I think this is the best part of the trip, is being here. So thank you. And yes, he's fine. He's gonna live. Damn it, I mean, no, great. And I'm gonna take a seat.
God is pushing you back.
And if anyone remember back in March when I featured, I was like, woohoo, my book's coming, book's coming.
Mhm.
It is here, so you can still get your copy of the book, $10. And I get the email from the book festival, the Bay Area Book Festival that they have in Berkeley every year. Oh, all my fun stuff. And they sent a beautiful poem, and I just wanted to read it to someone. So I'm going to read it to you. A poem for you right now. To All My Friends by May Yang. That I could be this human at this time, breathing, looking, seeing, smelling. That I could be this moment at this time, resting, calmly moving, feeling. That I could be this excellence at this time, sudden change, peaceful and woke. To all my friends who have been with me in weakness, when waterfalls rush down my two sides. To all my friends who will feel me in anguish, when this earthen back breaks between the crack of two blades. To all my friends who have held me in rage, when the fire tears through, swallows behind light grins. I know you, I see you, I hear you. Although the world is silent around you, I know you, I see you, I hear you. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay, so this is my first journal, and everything gets shoved in it, and it falls out when you read it open mics. But okay, so I don't know, I keep finding new things to do with poems, but I think that's our jobs as poets, to keep finding new things to do with poems. So I plan to write a whole book, I don't know when, but this is my very first anti-poetry poem.
Hear her.
And I know it works because I did a master's in dramatic arts, and we did an anti-theatrical theater class. So we did a whole fucking class on it. So I know I can have one anti-poetry poem. Okay, and the trick is listen to the two voices. I realized later I think I was writing a script, a conversation, I don't know. So listen to the voices. This is a poem from Mag. Mag's my sister, and I don't really feel she's very supportive of me being a poet or as anything else in my life, but this is her poem. Make love happen. I don't do poems. Do something marvelous today. Getting a poem eludes me. Making merry. High school poetry bored me. Mansions of clouds on high. For me, poems aren't sensible. Listen to the tender muse. I ask why poetry doesn't follow the grammar rules. A penny in my pocket is all the money needed. Misfits of society poets be, not me. Removing the mask. The poems of Frost and Brooks makes me wonder. Make up a new face. I'm confused. Is a sonnet a poem? Poetry and music don't go together. Mostly I love music, not poems. Thank you.
Oh. Oh, Letitia.
Get out of here. Thank you.
Saunders is next, and then we've really filled out the list. So, John Del,
Bagno?
can you go to the timeout? The time. We'll call it the on deck chair, so that way we transition right there. And then Sally goes up, and then when John goes up, the next person, which will be Stephen
Stephen Hendricks?
Stephen Hendricks? Stephen Hendricks here? Oh, is this your first time here? No. Okay, just make sure, because
So when
we're
you
gonna throw
go-
things actually around.
Oh, like I tell you, it's my first time here.
We have tomatoes. just get close there, Sally.
Hearthstone, yeah.
You look happy, that's good.
And a nice round hit, that's right.
I'd like to start off by inviting you all to come Sunday, November 18th at 11 o'clock to the Cultural Integration Fellowship to an open mic and delicious refreshments, and it's free. And I'll leave the flyers here with Dan.
Yeah, I have a set.
Oh, okay.
Is this the same?
Yep.
All right, so I will combine these.
Oh, okay.
I will combine, actually, you know what?
So y'all come, whoops, November 18th, excuse me.
Socks.
Oh, it's not a birthday.
Yeah.
Okay, the first one
Oops, sorry.
You just put them on top of
is
that.
dedicated to Richard.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Today, Wednesday, August 29th, I saw a coyote up close.
Oh, wow.
And the coyote saw me. Coyote so worried looking and skinny. Did someone disturb his home? His face crying. His body weary and windblown. Coyote walked away and we met again. So much to talk about. So much to share.
Yeah.
Oh.
San Francisco is dying. San Francisco is dying. Right in front of my eyes.
All the techies are moving in.
Streets torn up like on a hospital operating table. Construction workers look like surgeons. We stand around the bed of this, old timers, old friends of San Francisco. The heartbeat is slowing, the pulse of the true San Francisco fading. A cancer-like plight is taking over. High rises, Uber, Lyft, and bikes. Eating at the calm once was here. San Francisco is dying, right in front of my eyes. Excuse me, sir, for writing so much. You see, I can't help it. The petticoat of my being showing. I try to tuck it up, but it tumbles down. Showing the white and lace. Writing of me comes in series. I don't just sneeze once and stop. I sneeze one on top of another in a seeming endless way. You have dissolved my cork and bubbling out comes foam and more foam. Candlestick Park is a graveyard now, of bones and remains, echoes of once was when alive. What's left and what's gone, mystery of choice. I never knew it when it was alive, vibrant and alive. All that's left is driplets, echoes. I come here for the first time to remains, like visiting Pompeii. I am a poet. Words are my craft. Like a blacksmith, I hammer away till the lines fit. Into the furnace of my mind they go, and out into the cool, onto the metal working space. Sometimes I'm a glass blower, the fire of my feelings forging shapes and forms. Sometimes I'm a smiling, toothless 6-year-old with pigtails, saucer eyes, and a big smile. Sometimes I'm an adolescent, moody, wondering, who am I? Who am I? I am the question, not the answer. The next one's called On Relationships. On Relationships. It's astonishing how someone I hardly know can speak to me sometimes as though we were twins, and then a relative can only step on my toes. It's amazing how in life people sit by us on train rides for a while, then get off at their own station. It's nice when someone plays ping pong with me. I love the click of the ball on the paddle. I could feel the quiet, steady breathing as the air sleeps. The dawn arises in me. I am refreshed, a new day, a new me. There are no volcanoes bursting and foaming down my sides.
You sound like we got there. You got like a have a second or something, to pick up something really short.
Well, come on the 18th of November, y'all.
I got the flyers up here aplenty, as they like to say. Now, John, you're not new here, right?
I am new here.
You're new here?
I'm new here.
This is John. He's new here, ladies and gentlemen. Speech!
I won't be new for that long.
Home!
Since nobody wings a skunk at me or something. All right. I've got a bit of Buddhist devotional poetry for you. Now, most folks know you can get to enlightenment meditating your way there, but for those of you like me, we realize we're running out of time. So there's this Buddha called Amida Buddha, who, if you say that name over and over again, meets you when you die, and that's what I'm counting on. So here we go. This is all about reciting the Nembutsu. The syllables flow out gently. In the cool evening tonight, resting on my back deck with a cup of tea, a rising star looks solitary to me. Yet I know the sharp view of astronomers has revealed it to be a vast cluster of stars and planets. When Shakyamuni Buddha's wisdom eye opened, he saw the limitless Buddhas spread across world system after world system. So that what reaches me this night includes the radiance of a host of Buddhas. Of all those Buddhas that Shakyamuni saw, Amida Buddha's light reached farthest and shone brightest, enough to bathe my tumultuous heart and my cup of tea. For years unsure, my Amida recitation came in forced breaths. Amida Buddha, Amida Buddha, Amida Buddha, Amida Buddha, Amida Buddha. As if necessary to keep pace in a cross-country marathon over mountains and through deep hollows. Tonight, on my back deck, my recitation comes easy. Amida Buddha, Amida Buddha, Amida Buddha. With the relaxation of having just taken a seat on a ferry almost missed. The syllables flow out gently in rhythm with the small waves lapping against the hull. At ease and with little else to do, I am carried along towards the Pure Land tonight on my back deck. All right, now that I'm not a virgin, something a little more fun for you here. This is called Little Fly Going This Way and That. Oops, little one, you don't want to be in here. Now, out the window, out this way. No, out here. Go left. No. Feel the sunshine? Get out there. Now, come on. Goodness, what am I going to do with you? Well, the window is open whenever you are ready. And you know, I think Amida Buddha looks at the spinnings of my heart mind in about the same way.
Yeah.
And I'll close with one more called Compassionate Eye. Weary of the endless endurance of dissatisfaction and disputes, I will plunk myself down on my lotus in the Pure Land when I die. After seemingly endless human escapades, I will find myself unbound by the ego, washed free of habitual karma, and in the good company of the great Sangha. How good it will be to share stories of survival from a life in the desperate human realm. We will sit as victors, as survivors of a plague of selfishness, cured only by the moksha stick of Amida's compassionate eye.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. And we have Stephen now. Rosie, Rosie's out there.
Yeah.
Can you come to the on deck chair, please?
And then Tom Holberg.
And then Tom will be after Rosie, and then Stephanie after that. And Megan Kelly, and
Sharon's after Stephanie.
oh, sorry, yes.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
There you go, we're ready, buddy.
This is my Nina Simone poem. This is actually the first poem I read here, but it's backed by special request. And I harbor resentment that it took so long for her to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Tell me again, Nina. Tell me again, Nina, about the sadness. The one that runs deep like rivers. The one I hear reverberate in your voice. Tell me about my history. The history of America. The history of sadness. What made me who I am today. I'm lost, floating in a world between truth and illusion, between sunshine and earth, between a blue sky and a black one. Your voice, the billion strands of light trying to reach me. Tell me again, Nina, about Mississippi, goddamn. Tell me about the burning buildings, the burning crosses. I hear the crackle of fire in your pauses. I sense the weight of horror in the centuries of ash we find ourselves wading through, dry in our throats. Don't let it dry yours. Creating our thirst to hear those sad tones. Those who are already dead, those who will soon be dead, are ghosts riding your breath captured and endlessly repeatable, yourself a ghost now, haunting my breath. Tell me, Nina, how does time stop when I hear your voice? How does the world melt away, leaving only the sadness? And where does the pleasure come from that's embedded in the sadness? Let me embrace you, Nina. Let me embrace your voice. I'll ride your breath with the ghosts and make them my friends. And we'll hold hands until the sadness departs. And if it never departs, we'll hold our breaths and cover ourselves with ash.
All right.
This one's called Night and Anger in Los Angeles. And I harbor resentment that Los Angeles makes me so angry. Remember that night I was lost in LA? How late it was when we'd left the Pantages? How hungry we were because we hadn't had time to eat? Always in a rush we were back then, and really no different now. Always in a rush and always hungry. Your grandfather had just died. You were angry. Angry about it being so late. Angry about being hungry. Angry about being lost. It wasn't the first time LA encouraged our darker sides. You angry and I lost, and night so completely descended. I'm in LA again and it's late. Those memories have come back after a long absence, as though they were stuck in this place, awaiting my return, as though they belong more to the city than to me. The memories have done nothing more than remind me that it's even later, and I'm still lost and searching for something that will make sense of everything, will make the anger and the night subside. And last one's called Flip a Coin. Heads I win, tails you lose, you say, and it happens too fast for me to catch the trick. You lift your hand to reveal a quarter. Tails, you lose, and I sit back in stunned silence as I watch things taken from me one by one over the next 30 years.
Yep, yep.
And then Tom will be on the on-deck chair. You know, one of the poets read something about a relationship earlier on, and one of my favorite jokes is the woman and the man are walking together, and the woman says to the man, "You know, I never had religion until I met you. And he said, really? Yeah, she said, I never know what hell was like. Has nothing to do with you. All right. You're on, dear. Give her a nice round.
I'm here shamelessly plugging. I was told by Shizui Siegel, who edited Endangered Species.
Excellent.
And she said that just keep going and keep reading. So I've already read my contribution. But here's another one. This is, Rene Yanez, his birthday just was yesterday. And I was thinking about his son, and so I just flipped open to this page, which is Rio writing, Untitled Images. From the moment he was conceived in an artist's studio, Rio Yanez's fate as an artist was sealed. Born and raised in San Francisco's Mission District, Yanez is a nonprofit worker and artist. He has been curating art exhibits together with his father, Rene Yanez, since 2005. Rio has exhibited in cities ranging from San Francisco to Tokyo. His work examines the intersection of pop culture and Chicano icons and aesthetics. Rio is also a founding member of the Great Tortilla Conspiracy, the world's most dangerous tortilla art collective, which I'm a member too. Artist statement. My primary interest as an artist is in combining the icons and mythologies of Chicano culture and popular culture. Growing up as the son of two Chicano artists, I was often frustrated that Chicano art and iconography rarely intersected with my personal mythologies of comic books, pro wrestling, music, and Godzilla movies. My images bring together my heroes, friends, neighborhood stories, and childhood fantasies with Chicano aesthetics, traditional images, and politics. They are a fulfillment of my childhood yearnings and an exploration of my relationship to the worlds I walk in between. As a native son of the Mission District, I've seen the city change over 4 decades. As a teenager, I was obsessed with photographing the 5 movie theaters that line Mission Street between 22nd and 20th. They were the local epicenters of the neighborhood's Latino residents, and their closing in rapid succession changed everything. I took photos of what remained of them as towering altars dedicated to the neighborhood I once knew. As my work as an artist matured, I began to create work that told more narrative stories about the neighborhood, starting with images of Frida Kahlo having misadventures in the Mission of the 80s and 90s, and culminating in a series of prints chronicling an average day of twin sisters living in the neighborhood. The Mission District and its ever-changing faces have remained strong influences in my work. Now, I need to apologize here a little bit because when I turned the page, I actually was turning to the second part of an artist statement of Rene, not of Rio. So I'd like to end there. I'll just leave it there. And more to be revealed later. Oh, okay.
Tom Holmberg, you should have been on the and then Stephanie Manning after Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Hello there. What? I'm glad to be here again with you.
Inspiration.
And thank you for your
Inspiration.
Did I tell you who I was?
No.
Oh,
Tom Holmberg.
oh yeah, Tom Holbrook. I remember that. Okay. I had what I thought was a good poem. By the time I got to the notebook, it flew off like a butterfly. Say, do you like butterflies?
Yes. I like flutterbys.
There is a lady with white hoarfrost hair. When she got old, people didn't even notice.
True story. I know that one.
Yeah, me too. Baseball, baseball, baseball.
Yada, yada, yada.
Wait till next year. You know. If you have, something very long, and where, if you live long enough, anywhere in the Americas, no matter where you are, you memorize that phrase. Wait till next year. Yeah, wherever you are. It just changes all the time. In 1970, the average American attention span was 70 seconds. Now, in 2018, that's what we're in, right? It's 20 seconds. Oh my God. I read that in some magazine.
What did you say?
It's 20 seconds.
Oh gosh. I only have 5
Sorry
minutes.
about that.
Oh my God.
It's slipping.
Even with me, one has to repeat a thing more than once before I get it. Advertisers know this. A transaction takes 15 seconds after you wait in line an hour sometimes. St. Francis. No, that's the name of our city, you know that, right? Yeah, okay. St. Francis believed in kindness to all living things. Not a lot of people paid attention to him when he was alive. The Jesuits did. They built a university in his name and invited anyone, almost, who wanted to study there. St. Francis, I get a kick out of him because I like animals. It's the reason. Tra-la-la, tra-la-la, try L.A. That's how they talk down there. That's what some people say in Los Angeles. Ooh la la. I call them the town of the dirty Dodgers. Here's one. It's called Little Pussies. Little pussies are warm and fuzzy. They play hard to get. When you pet them, they do seem to like it as much as you do. They are picky eaters too. Dogs are more faithful. Goldfish too ethereal. Should I quit while I'm here? ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A good evening.
All right, thank you. Tom Holmberg, I haven't seen him in 5,052 years.
Yeah, I'm glad
Give
we
or take
did.
a-
Yeah, it's,
For a man of Van Terra.
Glad you came back.
70 Manning, and then Sharon on deck. And then we have David, and someone named Brady for crying out loud. Wake up with the same actors right here. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, David.
It is. It's wobbly like the Bay Bridge.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you. This one's called Impeachment. I wrote this as soon as I got on the train. I started writing, and my commute takes an hour and 20 minutes. And when I looked up, it was time to get off the train. So I hope it doesn't go on too long. Anyway, it goes like this. Impeachment. Can a powerful man be toppled by a prostitute? How about by a model? By a college professor? By a porn star? Or any woman for that matter? What insulates a man from the facts of his sordid past? Do people just close their ears when there is news they don't want to hear?
Yep.
What is it about a man they believe in that they believe is worthy, that it defies their imagination when an act is so despicable that the man who's so worthy could not possibly have done it in their minds? It is not possible, you are lying, they might say. And then why is it not possible for them to come to grips even after all the facts are presented and witnesses testify? What is it in the human sense of affiliation that will not allow in the truth, or not very easily? How we are influenced by ads and posts on Facebook that incite arguing and drive us apart. Do you know under whose influence you are operating today? Is it the influence of peace, joy, and love? Or is it about fighting, depression, and hatred? Are we on the brink of war? Why does it take so long for mail to be delivered? Will absentee ballots be delivered by Election Day in November? Will the election be stolen by interlopers? How will we protect the innocent and not get caught in the crossfire? How do we teach the children to build a firewall to hate and to protect their case-sensitive passwords from hackers using one capital, one number, one symbol, and no more than 8 characters? And nothing obvious, being careful not to use the same password for multiple accounts and to change them all often. Who are we to tell them not to be cynical and hopeless? And if we lie to them all too soon, will they not learn the truth about politics, about the environment, about the dangers of getting shot at school and in cafes? And once they see when they grow up, will they not hate us for not preparing them? Will they not hate us? Shocked and horrified, will they not hate us?
And now we have Sharon Scott Kish, who will take us back to the thrilling days of yesteryear. Which I love, actually. It reminds me of my own childhood.
This is from African American wisdom. Get the candles lighted before you blow out the match. Every eye shut ain't sleep. And a robin song ain't pretty to a worm. Okay, and this is Dashiell Hammett, who went for many years with Lillian Hellman. And it said that one night after drinking, for many drinks on the rocks, Hammett took a cigarette and he was smoking and began to grind it into his cheek. And she says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm doing it myself to keep you from doing it." I thought the theme was insanity, so.
It's all right.
Yeah, well, I'm among friends, so.
Insane friends.
Thank you. So here it goes.
I'm gonna raise this just a hair.
Okay. This is called Under the Stairs. It started like any other Saturday, visiting Aunt Marge and Uncle Buster's. When I got there, Aunt Marge was in the living room pacing. Uncle Buster was in the basement in his workshop, jeweler's loop in place. I went down to let him know I was there, since I am his right-hand man. Yeah. I hand him watch parts, tools, and I'm really not that bad. Back upstairs to get some Vest Cola from Aunt Margie. She tells me to get my ice, my soda pop, and to go help Uncle Buster and to stay out from the main floor and out of the hallway. She says no matter what, stay in the apartment or with Uncle Buster. Strange, she usually wants me to help her dust. Meanwhile, we check on the canaries. They are ones, and she has hers, and a friend has hers taken care of, because, strangely enough, this rigid bitch can breed canaries. She can breed canaries. She can also breed African violets, and strangely enough, in grade school, she graded the Latin papers in the 7th grade. But, back to her, she says, be sure you go downstairs and stay with Uncle Buster. I hear Jamesetta upstairs on the 2nd floor, and she's just banging the piano. It's very strange, because she's a very good pianist. So, I go downstairs, and I say to Uncle Buster, what's with Aunt Marge? He says, what do you mean? I said, she told me to stay down here. Okay. So I go upstairs, and I take the coffee cups up, and the phone rings. She's washing her hands. She bolts to the phone, and she says, yes, it's me. It's Marjorie. Be sure you buzz for W.E. Brown. I will take you upstairs. Okay. Then she says, go downstairs. I go downstairs, I hang out with Uncle Buster, then I go back upstairs, and the doorbell rings. She runs out in the hall, she's talking to 2 men, and she says, I'll take you up. She takes them upstairs. These guys have white jackets on. And she is almost wringing her hands. So, okay, I stay under the stairs. I sneak out and I stay under the stairs. And I hear her say, okay, it's gonna be okay. You can stop playing the piano now. What's this all about? Then the guys speak and they say, we're just gonna take you away where you'll feel comfortable. And she starts screaming. So Jamesetta is screaming and calling people witches and bastards, and I'm under the stairs. What's going on here? Then one driver says to the other, go get the jacket. And he goes out the door, and he comes back in with his white jacket, and it's got straps hanging from it. And they go upstairs, and there they are. And they put her in the jacket. The other guy goes downstairs to get the stretcher. They come upstairs, and they put her in there. And they put this big stick in her mouth. It's like a wide popsicle stick. And they take her out. And Uncle Buster takes her daughter down to say goodbye. I go downstairs and I go, what's going on? He says, that's okay. She'll be back in just a little bit. Well, she's gone for 1.5 years. Meanwhile, my aunt and uncle take care of her daughter, make sure, since it's her last year of high school, that she goes to school, that she gets to all the proms, and that she's fed. Her mother comes back. She's okay. I'm a little shy, but we become friends again, and she's playing on the piano with me. The next thing I know, she's getting sick again, but she knows she's getting sick, and she tells us that she's getting sick. And we drive her up to St. Joe, up to the state hospital. And she's only there a couple of months, and she comes back. And when she comes back, we're all with her, and her daughter is graduating from high school, and my aunt and uncle are putting her through school.
Trish, love the story. Charles coming back, and then our feature, just so you know, we are closing in on the ultimate act of poetry this evening. Just so you know.
Do you harbor regrets? Tuck away pain and longing in a protected cove?
Yes, I do.
Does your hull need scraping? Avast! Action will tear you from your emotional moorings, leave you anchored to the shore, or permanently drown you in a sea of sorrow. The choice, the voice, is yours. This was written by Baby Blue. When a body sees a body, equinox, opportunity appears. Panoply, canopy, synonym, dictionary, thesaurus, stegosaurus, everyone saw us. Seek the leaf of longing and decay, changing color every day. Plug nickel slipped into a loafer, gopher, retriever, underground believer. No need to hibernate just yet. Last of the berries still to get. High meadow, low hillock. Sock puppet, lost an eye. Lime in the coconut, equator debater. Listen to the muse. Ignore the news. Legislate morality? Stuck in abnormality. Snake long ago shed its skin when spring had just begun. Abomination on this scale. Great white thrash beyond the pale. Horror is a lesson too. Oh, pussy hat, what can you do? In the pink, brown, purple. Vaginas. Can we please stop poking them and treat them with affection? Penis and testicles, dual purpose, enjoyment and reproduction. No shame, no blame, no claim to fame, no secret names. Stand at attention. Rest and repose. Each of those is the name of the game. Oh, natural. And now for my show. This is really a duet with backing, but I'm going to do it as a solo. Okay. So.
Public sax?
Yeah. Safe sax for you. It could be a spoonful of coffee. It could be a spoonful of tea. But one little spoon of your precious love is good enough for me. I said now. Men lie about that spoonful. Some cry about that spoonful. Some die about that spoonful. Everybody fight about a spoonful. That spoonful, spoonful, spoonful. Could be a spoonful of water to save you from the desert sand. Could be a broken heart in need of a gentle hand. Spoonful, spoonful. It could be a missed little spoonful. That spoon, that spoon, that spoonful. That spoon, that spoon, that spoonful. It might be a pit pat of butter. It might be a soupçon of gris-gris, gilded splinters. Put all your heart in a ladle of love. It's still just a spoonful to me now. Spoonful, spoonful, spoonful. Spoonful, spoonful, spoonful. That's it. Spoonful. I feel all right. I feel all right with that spoonful. Thank you. I'll be doing that with a harmonica, a bass, piano, and drums.
Hey,
Now
Dan Brady is up next.
Yeah, I'm up next. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you know what my mom used to say? Shut up. No. Okay, so just to be not responsible, you have to give me A or B. Thank you. All right. No, so I heard the A.
C.
No, it's too late. There's always 10. Okay, so I'm going to begin with something humorous. It is political. Can you hold that just for a second? And then I'm going to read something that is not political and not humorous. Since someone called out A, this is my ode to George Zimmerman. It's sung to the tune of "Oh Christmas Tree," just in case you don't gather that. And the first line is "Du bist wie ein Großspursgas," which is German for "You are a great fart." Just like Ach Zimmerman, du bist wie ein Großspursgas. George Zimmerman, oh wherefore art thou, Georgie? You killed and got your fame, that's true. Oh, no, sorry. I said, you killed and got your fame, that's sure. You beat your wife, but refuse the cure. George Zimmerman, you really are so famous. You shot your wad, then lied, you know, blabbed on a foxy news talk show. George Zimmerman, you really are an anus. A star at redneck gun trade shows. You wrote a book that really blows. George Zimmerman, you really are so famous. And then you had an idea grand to auction that gun. What a plan. George Zimmerman, you really are an anus. Well, who will buy it? I want to know. Would it be Trump or Idaho? George Zimmerman, you're now a famous anus. The other one was more serious, but I like that one, it's fun. And now a sorrowful note. I don't know how many people here knew Marlene Aaron, the artist. Okay, so in a bizarre twist of fate, she was crossing the street innocently enough, and a flatbed truck towing something just took her right out. And I saw her picture, and I go, what a nice picture. And then I read the story. So anyway, this was a poem that she wrote April 29th, 2017. She read it at an open mic in the Mission, but I don't have that information. Poem of resistance, and this will be my protest. I'm going to make my art, and that will be my protest. I'm going to lift my face to the sun, and that will be my protest. I'm going to be thankful I can walk on sand dunes and pick up trash and be grateful for the day and talk to strangers, and those will be my protests. I'm going to make huge and small and profound works of art and paint lots of faces of my brother, because if he were alive, he would also protest. I'm going to listen to music that friends make and laugh and share a drink or a dessert and make new friends and talk to strangers and smile at babies and laugh with strangers and share meals with friends. And that will be my protest. I'm going to listen to a cello and close my eyes and smile inside, and that will be my protest. We won't give up, and that will be our protest. we'll keep going, and that will be our protest. We'll laugh and drink and say hell with you and write poetry and make art and make love and walk on the beach and be grateful for the sun and bare feet on sand dunes. And that will be my protest, and that will be our protest, and that will be our protest.
Oh,
Now give it up for the cursive writer. He comes up here, and then I'll introduce the feature.
David, coming up?
Sorry. Oh, put it away. I forgot.
Oh, you did? Well,
Do the first
Oh, for
one.
God's sakes,
Do
he
the first
forgot.
one.
well, I'll do the first one by myself,
Oh, sorry.
and then you can do the next two. All right, this is called Full Moon Sets. Moon sets in full arresting beauty, hangs over mountain, slowly glides downward. Golden, resting, darkening sky where shimmering stars hover, winking at everything, everyone, no one. Moon slowly goes behind mountain, begins to look like a giant light bulb, still lighting our way, becoming half dome. Earth turns, giving other views, sky, earth, beauty of our world is unknown anywhere else for now. Lapis blue sky crisply shows moon's edge and is lowered further behind Earth's mountain until left in blackened skies. Two-legged turn on lights, much to fear from the dusk, elegant blackened satin sky, lighting our world, competing with ancient suns, lights far away, can't be seen. Younger brother destroys beauty before beauty can show us what we didn't know, understand. So we destroy, making a killing, thinking this is the only thing that brings security. But not so secure when our world responds, make it impossible for much life to survive, as two-legged now learns. That's right, you made a killing. Made a killing, all right. I'm going to be joined by Tommy Avicoli Mecca and David Erdreich on sax.
Okay, so hold on. I'm going to try to frame you all.
Frame me.
Frame us for what?
Richard, move closer to David.
Oh,
Tommy, take time to stand back. No,
kiss me.
No, David, David, come
David,
around.
go back where you were.
I gotta see this.
Oh, yeah, okay, never mind. All right. No,
How's
you're good
how's
now.
that?
Maybe Richard step back.
Maybe Richard step
And maybe Richard can step back.
There we go. Rub the all three on your beautiful faces.
Step back.
Can you get in?
Because your moms will want to notice here, huh?
I don't need
All
to.
right. Move along.
Move along.
Move. Oh, excuse me. I'm forgetting my prompt. Jeez. Good God, we got acting to do here. Move along, nothing to see here. Move along, ignore the body in the street. Jail cell, field, river, desert. Move along, nothing along here. Nothing to be gained by looking. Save yourself, PTSD.
Daddy, why are there no dogs on this border res?
Their silence killed. All the better to bring drugs through here, my son.
Daddy, why is there a black man bleeding in the street?
All the better to protect us, my son.
Daddy, why are there so many drunken Indians on the street near jail?
All the easier for us to break treaties and take their land, my son.
Daddy, why are there so many mothers, fathers crying when we took their babies away?
All the better to give them, those children, a better way of life, living with a new Western attitude, my son.
Daddy, why do God's angels cry when they see these things?
All the better for you to understand that there are no gods, no angels. We do these things, my son, because we can. All right, this last piece is dedicated to Mr. Natural, based on a conversation we had once. Lost in Worlds. He's lost in his world of words, meaning, derivations, coincidences. She reciprocates, finds words for him, hieroglyphics. He picks words apart, finds century of birth and its original meaning, sacred carving. The coming together of words that make new words, ergo to ergonomics. So it goes for this man who's fortunate enough to find a mate who loves words just for the pure love of the word. There is a man who speaks of music composition, seduction, sacred that weeps, charm, elegance, possessing loveliness of heart, mind. It's joy, sadness, anger, all painted on paper lines. Notes representing everything. Musical scores need to be brought to life. The only thing missing is the heart, mind of the players, singers, interpretations. The beauty of the G clef. The man moves to tears as he describes the beauty scene, as I hope any musician or not appreciates. Like great paintings and poetry, I have so clumsily tried to replicate the beauty of this language and fail miserably. I know I was there and in tears. May we all find places as they have, lost in our worlds that brings healing of things you love, understanding the things you don't. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy out of the Holy Mecca.
Tommy out of the Holy Mecca, and the congratulations. Doing teamwork there. Yeah, he says. As if he's from Philadelphia already.
Yeah.
Move this out of the way here.
Philly to you.
Huh?
Philly to you.
Philly, huh?
Funny.
Huh?
You know what annoys me when I hear somebody who comes to the city for the show? They say Frisco. What is wrong with these people? It is San Francisco. I had to teach my brother that. He said, really? They don't call it Frisco? No, yeah. Never mind. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know why that started. The random neurons firing and then, okay, so. This is am I okay, man?
Oh, yeah, sorry, your
That's fine.
head's off.
My head's off?
Yeah.
I have to put it back on. Every time I wake up in the morning, go to the bathroom, look in the mirror, and say, who is that president? Never. Okay, I'm going to start. So, Glenn Meisenheimer, right here, is the feature of the evening. And years back, he was here. You were a pretty regular person. And he would come here, and people would love what he did. Now, back then, and I guess still, he has a lot to do with poetic forms. So much so that he invents his own, and I don't know if you're going to do any of that this evening, yes or no?
I think there are a couple.
Okay, so there's a couple of things in there. So forms that he's invented, he likes that, and it's a very clever way of writing. I remember when I first began experimenting with form, I found it very strangely liberating. Now his writing, though, has a lot of variation in it. So, I mean, he could be humorous, he can be serious, he can be really angry at certain things. And so I don't know what he's going to be doing in that regard. But the finesse, I mean, I would call him a man of letters, not like, like in the schooling type of thing, but he's very interested in writing and the nuances of a given word and what it means and how he puts it next to whatever he puts it next to. And he works out these little tiny details because it's important and it changes the meaning of a sentence, which then affects the meaning of a stanza or the poem in itself. So there's detail and there's attention to detail, and it's always fascinating to me. Outside of that, he has a good web presence. Because I saw there's several places that have your stuff there, so you can find this guy. And you didn't bring books, did you?
No, I didn't.
I should have told him. And Thailand, right? Yeah. So he's come all the way. You're here for other purposes, not just. But all the way from Thailand, he said, "I'm going to be in San Francisco." So he sent me an email and said, "Yeah, let's do it." And we got this night going. It's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't heard him in a long time, so it'll be great to have him here. I know what's coming, but some of you don't. So that's going to be really fun for me to watch the reactions of people. And beyond that, I don't want to take up too much time because I'd rather have you hear him than me just going on and on and on. and what's the point of that? So give Glenn a really nice round of applause here. Glenn Weisenheimer, a fantastic, wonderful, good, knowledgeable, careful, caring human being and poet.
I've got to make sure this is set for you. So. You just got to get through the post, just almost like that. So
You can do a video.
yeah, this is happening, but then what I'll do is I'll take and make something that says that.
I think it'd be fun, yeah.
Okay, all right. So there you go. Just get really.
Ah. Greetings from Koh Samui, where I live in my little island and take care of all the stray dogs there. So it's pretty much my life. Don't bother to applaud because it just makes things drag on. I write rhyming meter, so metered verse. Toenails. There was a time so long ago I trimmed my nails in Kokomo. Though San Francisco may be where I left my heart, my nails are there. I had a manicure one day in old Saigon, so far away. I left a part of me behind, so with Saigon I am entwined. In Tokyo, one winter's morn, I had my tousled hair all shorn and trimmed my toenails. Yes, it's so. So part of me's still there, Before I have to leave this earth, I'd like to leave myself in Perth, Sao Paulo, Bora Bora, Rome, before the Reaper calls me home. Dust. From dust we're formed, to dust we must return, and everything we own, the dust encrusts. Relentlessly it drifts with no concern, not heeding our displeasure or disgust, but settling in most inconvenient spots, the cornices, the corners where the dust rags cannot go, the cornices where dust webs are forgot. They say that in the start, so long ago, that hydrogen was all the Big Bang formed. No dust back then to rant and rave against, but gravity caused stars to spin and swarm, and in their cores the harder stuff condensed till they went supernova, as stars must, and peppered the damn universe with dust.
Yeah.
The real me. The dentist pulled my tooth today. He took a part of me away to be replaced. Henceforth, forsooth, a metal artificial tooth. The day may come, my doctor quips, they'll have to change my knees and hips. My heart beneath a metal plate may whir someday, not palpitate. As time goes on and parts wear out, they'll change them all without a doubt, until at last none will remain except my aged and addled brain, which in good time they will upload into a quantum core abode. They tell me that I'll still be me, though I can't see which me I'll be. Monkeys. So who are we with monkey brains, with monkey hands and monkey eyes, who choose to seek a universe that we can somehow visualize? We probe the vast expanse of space, the quantum world of place and time, while pushing all our limits back. We never cease our upward climb. Explorers, that is what we are. Our unrelenting human trait is monkey curiosity, the hunger that we can't abate. I fought in the war, so here's a war poem. Vietnam War. There's much to learn about the war. The fragile tie we have to life, the murkiness of right and wrong, the senselessness of human strife. For we were victims all. The boys who had to go and fight, the women and the children who were stranded in that awful plight.
And in the end, it came to what? Was ever truth or justice served? Was honor what we had to show? Was freedom saved or life preserved? For all the boys whose names at last were etched upon that granite wall, for all the innocents who died, for those on both sides, for them all, I dedicate my life to peace, while in my heart I cherish love. So when the war clouds churn and roil, I promise then to be the dove. Fairy fire. They say, beware desires that stalk your night and chitter on the edges of your dreams. The ones that cannot show themselves in light, the ones we only hear through muffled screams. For what is right and what our hearts desire may not in every instance correspond. Beware the icy heat of Wiccan fire and slimy things that lurk beneath the pond. Resist the lurid tug of pagan moons, whose cold forbidden light is never good. Don't heed the siren's soft enticing croons, nor follow fairy fire into the woods. Yet, if we don't explore our darkest star, how will we ever know just who we are? Too soon. Too soon, I say. Too soon our hour is done and we must make our exit from life's stage. Too soon the love and all that we have won are forfeit as the playwright turns his page. The scene goes on as if we mattered not, as if our toils and efforts had no worth. Too soon we find the things for which we fought abandoned like we've never walked this earth. I fail to see the point of our brief stay. Too fleeting is our frolic in the light, and then he up and throws it all away as we are dragged off stage into the night. That's why my life with one clear goal is crowned, to leave a better world than what I found. Broken men. So what becomes of broken men? The ones who can't be whole again, the ones who roam the streets instead and fight the wars inside their head, the ones who came when duty called, who fought for us, who gave their all, the men we shun as they limp by, the ones we don't look in the eye.
Oh.
Now, David, props go to David for his nonsense poetry, because I find it very hard to write, but I love nonsense poetry. We'll give this a shot.
Thanks for the left hand.
Imagine, said the porcupine, if buffalo could fly, if ocelots would only dine on elderberry pie, if silverbacks played paddywhack en route to Timbuktu, and cattle all sang Figaro instead of saying moo. I do not think, the eel replied, those things will ever be. Imagine if the oysters at the bottom of the sea served crumpets to the octopi one rainy day in May, while fishes all played hopscotch and the lobsters played croquet. The cricket said that things like that don't happen anymore. Imagine if the human race could put an end to war and feed their young and tell the truth so they would be believed. They shook their heads and all agreed that couldn't be achieved. Death. Death, you know, has not good sense. He does not come in recompense for evil, the results thereof. Instead, he seeks to punish love. R.I.P. Freeman. Gone the nights at sacred grounds, gone the spark that death confounds, gone the even eyes and ready grin. In our cavalcade of days in coffee shops and dim cafes, a kinder, gentler soul has never been. Another war poem, choosing. Come together, I'll tell you the tale that was told to our mothers and fathers that was told to our mothers and fathers as well, of the sons and the daughters who smolder in hell because they resisted conforming. The best ones lay dead in the trenches of war while the bankers have tea in the morning. Come, listen, my children. I'll tell you those lies, the same ones they're eager to proselytize. While you're early to bed and you're early to rise, the system continues its rending. And we are the ones who are ground in the mill while the slaughter goes on without ending. Tomorrow the war will be finally through. In the meantime, remember that Jesus loves you and would want you to do what the others all do. The worst is the sin of refusing. The thing that they tell us is freedom is just a whole life that was never our choosing. Tears. I'm sorry for all these downers. I didn't do this intentionally.
No, we're good.
Okay. Tears. There will be tears to shed before we're through. Some dirges to the dead we'll listen to, but also we will laugh another day, attend a wedding, watch the children play. It's not a given thing that we should know which way the winds of life are bound to blow, the consequences of our love and hate, or whether we're constrained by choice or fate. But still we know that one thing will ensue. There will be tears to shed before we're through. Draft resistor. There's always this relationship between the Vietnam vet and the draft resistors. Draft resistor. They call you coward. Isn't that a bitch? Because you loved your wife and children more than all the moneyed interests of the rich, you wouldn't go and fight their dirty war. One thing is sure, through all war's bloody years, the ones who fight, the ones who bear the pain, the ones who die are not the profiteers, are not the same as those who reap the gain. So cowardice is not what marks your heart. With grandkids bouncing there upon your knee, it is one's love that sets a man apart. Release your ghosts and live forever free. The blood of generations yet to come derives from your refusal to succumb. Broken things. She filled her life with broken things, a blender on the blink, a teapot with a little chip, a man who liked to drink, a laptop that was prone to crash, a car that wouldn't start, a cat who had a mangled ear, her worn and tattered heart. Probability. So many possibilities between the egg and sperm, yet we, in our uniqueness, are the ones who came to term. The atoms forming you and me are locked in an array of great improbability. The needle in the hay, but still we live, we laugh, we love, we think, and thus we are. Improbable at very best. impossible, bizarre, statistically unlikely, so by logic not to be. Yet we are crowned the kings and queens of probability. How's my time?
You have about like 4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna skip one. Oh, here's a fun one. I've been doing too much downer stuff.
Thank you.
Galaxy Destroyer.
Does that have anything to do with the Space Force?
Yes. No, it's a cocktail. Off the shoulder of Orion, past the bars of Betelgeuse, if you travel several 100 trillion miles, there's a planet where they party, where morality is loose, and their cocktails are designed to bring on smiles. You can start off with a little nip of Rigel's finest brew. You'll find it works quite well for stripping paint. Then that rocket juice from Spica, just a shot or maybe two, till your knees begin to quake and you feel faint. When it's time to switch to harder stuff, the special ought to do, some have said it's made from eyes of Altair toads, but those foggy methane bubbles tend to hide that from your view as you ponder universal antidotes. A Ferengi reconstructor, a martini made of spice from the jungle worlds surrounding Barnard Star, and a galaxy destroyer. You'll be feeling very nice, though you won't by then remember who you are. Robot dreams. The robots dream of ticking clocks, of pivots, gears, and springs, of things that spin and things that rock and whirring, buzzing things. They dream of how the cogs all fit as if it's meant to be, and of the force that powers it, some type of destiny. They think they see their purpose then and come to learn of love. They fear the advent of the end which marks the death thereof. They contemplate the question why. Then robots dreams that they can fly.
Whoa!
A poem. I heard a poem on the wind that murmured in my ear. Although its song was indistinct, I heard it loud and ripped it from its zephyr breeze to tie it down with ink. For that is what we poets do, as that is how we think. God's Lament. You tell the humans they weren't meant to fly, and then they go and trample on your moon. A wrinkled infant that can only cry will grow someday to write the Clair de Lune. And when you tell them they don't understand, they set about to build a better brain. What kind of bold impertinence is that? What vestiges of deity remain?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to do, I have a short one. Oh, here. I have a couple of short ones. What's my time?
Yeah, you can do a couple.
Okay. Bird on a Wire. It's the reason, the season, the love that we give. It's a bird on a wire. It's the life that we live. It's the music, the muse. It's the anger and pain. It's the things that we lose and the things that we gain. It is scissors, a stone. It is paper, a tree. It is being alone. It is you. It is me. It's the joy that...
Well, didn't I tell you? So, We have a huge second half. Let me go on the microphone. I don't really need the microphone. So a huge second half. So most of the people in the first half most people went from 3 to 4 minutes. So if you can do that, the second half will get everybody, and I want to get everybody on. That's one of my traditions. Yes, dear.
I'm sorry, just for a second. I forgot to tell you, everyone, that on Friday at Sacred Grounds, I'm going to be the feature. Tommy's going to be with me, and there's going to be
Sacred Grounds, Cafe International.
Where am I?
Thank you.
Cafe International.
All right.
I'll be coming on at 9 o'clock, but please come, and there's other artists there worth seeing.
So see him at Cafe International.
Yes, and I also want to say the people who are going to be playing with me are masters. I have Louis Romero, who used to play in the 70s with some of the greats of New York. He's been living out here since the 80s.
This way.
We met. We're having a bros moments, and he's going to be backing me. And Greer Rockette, who is a trumpet player who played with Dexter Gordon and those guys. So these guys got pedigree, and I want them to. I want you to come out and see them, not just me, because they are wonderful. Thank you for the time.
No, that's good. We're going to be like 3 or 4 minute break, and then we come back. Try to do between 3 and 4. So think about that. I want to get everybody. We have 17 poets coming up. We got Hal Robbins. We got this guy here. Right here, we got him. We got Shem. We got Greg. We got shirtloads of them later. They come out of the woodwork tonight. So let's take care of business.
And then you have a chance to
Well, this is online. This is also.
I know, and I don't know what I did with it.
There is
Put me down or
Yeah, I did put you down. What's your name?
I don't know. Did you put me?
No, what's your name?
Evie.
Oh, yeah, we did put you down. You're number 30.
Okay. Close to the end.
Yeah, then Hal Robbins is 31. And that's the end.
If I last.
You will.
Oh, it's bad. Let's get some of these flyers. This is it, right? The one that was given out, is this it?
Yeah, this is Sally Love. This is who? It's Dan Brady's. And this is Sally Love.
Hi, how you doing? Good?
What's one term in one language? Because the guy that speaks and that means in one of the Sangha, Sangha.
I want to see if we have the right date. 26th. Wait, I want to show you.
Yeah.
26th. You just have to tell
If it's too late, then why? Why?
How are you doing? What's our
It's gonna be late, huh? You have a long time. I need to get home to Paris. Were you here today? I took my dance class? No. Oh, you missed it. I memorized it. Well, I thought I had memorized it, but I got so nervous I forgot. Oh, but then, but can you practice I'll try to, yeah.
And the leader was like,
Yeah, practice. This poem that I wrote after I was just wonderful.
Mom's coming back.
And then I sat down and I was just entranced and the poem just poured out. Oh, that's great. Yeah, you're good at that. Somebody did that in advance. Oh, the problem was, the reason I forgot some of the lines was because I was trying to do it with my mic. So I'm not going to bother because I was trying to move my body. And it's like, nothing to forget. It was so awkward. I don't think Dan did Dan put you down? Oh, no. No, he didn't. Are you at the end? Are you on the end? But, I get here, I just think I got here much later. They did based on 3 times 10. How many went here? Let's, yeah. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes. It took so long. So you just missed it.
Being documented on the web.
Do they have any poetry circles up in Berlin? Really? No. I mean, it's such a deadbeat. They still do the, yeah, they do what's it's like so funny that he is, you know. I made the mistake of taking Ishmael Reed one day over there. My God. They didn't even know who he was. To where? To Sausalito. I don't know if that's They used to have one in Cafe Roma, but the new one is in Bangladesh and they stopped it. It wasn't good at all. The Sausalito person, so when you went to work on the same one. Hi! I want to get anyway. So this is, yeah.
February, March. So maybe April, May. This is what it will look like.
Pardon me?
Won't sing about the moon and the June spring.
I got a whistle whenever you want to start.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna. I have a plan. Yes. If this doesn't work, then we're gonna do that. I have something else. We got to get started.
It's the one that's coming out.
Mr. Natural put a banner folded up here.
Yes, it's right over there. We're gonna tape it together.
Yeah, tape it up.
Can you see if I'm framed? Can you see if I'm
There's a difference in it looks like paper.
But I'm surprised.
I do this stuff.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to start the second half, second show. Please take your seats, or if you have them, put them someplace.
I can't leave that long, so you can just scratch me off.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready. I'm ready. Ready, 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 ready. I'm ready. Sorry.
I'm just gonna be very short, so don't worry about it.
Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Where are we? In hey. Oh, thank you for that. Jacob. Jacob is the last word, so he's going to open the second half and close it. So give Jacob a round of applause. He's been quiet.
Hello.
Get really close to the mic, or else they won't hear you.
Gotcha.
There you go.
All right. Well, this is an experimental extraterrestrial poem entitled 1996 Outcast. And after my poetic lines, there's some lines from other poets. One of my two favorites, Andre Three Stacks and Big Boy. All right, here we go. An anonymous antagonist of the nation's adversaries, annihilated antecedents by excess accumulation of alcohol, causing alt-right anxiety. I can't put you on my payroll, and no, I ain't got no Rolex or no diamond. I have to exit with a sign saying, we'll wrap for food. My face is balled up because I ain't in a happy mood, while my partner got the squeegee in the Windex because somewhere in my life I done went wrong, just like a syntax error. Nearsighted necrophiliacs nibble at the nation's nectar. I dodged the semi-automatic and decided to live my life nomadic. They alienate us because we're different. Keep your hands up to the sky like sounds of blackness when I practice what I preach, ain't no lie. I'll be the baker and the maker of the piece of my pie. Deprivation at Denny's. I delegate my emotions rather than deny my soul its due diligence. I denote my dreams by doubting myself. I'm determined to destroy my daunting demons by December. From the deck she yelled, no more sex, pass me the decks. Now my oral illustration be like clitoral stimulation to the female gender. Ain't nothing better. Roland Kirk is the soundtrack of the revolution. Reinstate resistance. We are reborn renegades of repression. May a Republican repent their Rolls Royce. I'd rather you roll a joint or read James Joyce. Can we get a reprise of Recess? Softly, as if I played piano in the dark. Found a way to channel my anger now to embark. The world's a stage and everybody's got to play their part. Equality is enticing, but we must erode each entity of hatred and exploit the evils. The elevation of mind is not exclusive to those with excess earnings. The evolution of earthlings is entirely because of self-expression. Word is exodus, movement of the people.
Oh, yeah.
The Pope and his folks got us under a scope, but for unknown reasons, because we don't sell dope, that you distribute, we don't contribute to your clandestine activity. My soliloquy may be hard for some to swallow, but so is cod liver oil. Artisans and artists are a part of me. Ancient anthologies align within my anatomy, allowing access to the algorithm of apples set in place by Adam and Eve. I'm anti-Applegate, but pro-AT aliens. And when I'm on the microphone, you best to wear your sweater, because I'm cooler than a polar bear's toenails. Noble narratives nest in naive minds. Our thoughts are nimble. Native notions never neglect to nurture the earth, but nameless Neanderthals nuke our human necessities. With all the narcissistic news, it's no wonder why we turn to narcotics. But they making it seem that my music and crime are a team, but I'm speaking the truth, not dreams. So what in the fuck they mean? My lyrics ain't clean. Tech trends and tyrants can teach us about today. Tangelos are telepathic, tangible, and tender. Polar opposite of the tenderloin. Instead of text, why not sit and talk? Tax tanks, not truth. Bend corners like I was a curve. I struck a nerve, and now you're about to see the southern players serve. I heard it's not where you're from, but where you pay rent. Then I heard it's not what you make, but how much you spent. You got me bent like elbows, amongst other things, but I'm not worried. Wall Street sells wheat stocks to widows while wounded war vets sweep in front of windowless homes. Only Wu-Tang is for the Commonwealth. Wicked weapons will not withstand the war against love and unity. Watch as witches serve wonton and walk with walruses outside of Whole Foods. Wow, that's wild. Men have wanked the world, so why not give women a chance? Peep what I say, every day the sun sets just like clockwork, to put the Glock to work and putting the body to standstills. Angelic ants in the Archbishop pants, angry atheists aren't amused. Anglo Bibles, appendages, and Altoids now available at auction. Over 1 million sold to this day. They take it lightly. 96 gonna be the year that y'all player haters can bite me. No more needles or coke-filled noses on the end. No means no. North Beach nourishes my notebook. Give me nickels and naan bread, not nonsense. When your back was turned and slackers learned, and now we've fallen apart, you look at me in the eye, but you ain't feeling me in your heart. Yes, Lord, give me the power within the final hour. Overworked ovaries originated in overseas. And I'll just finish this one. Ostriches and opium both turn to their owners. Both turn on their owners. My mind's somewhere between Orwell and Orenthal James. Lethal. Order in the court. Oak trees are the only true oracles.
Thank you, Tommy, and then Owen on the hot seat there. Try to keep it under 4 because I want to get everybody. Thank you so much for that consideration. The people in the first half did pretty well with that.
I got it. I think I got it. Okay. Found scribbled on a bathroom wall. I always wanted to be a flower, but never grew enough roots to stay. To which I replied, I don't need roots. I was born a pansy. I never stop blooming. And this is going to take us back to the early 70s in Philly, in our gay neighborhood, where anything and everything did happen all the time. Tonight, heat rises from the worn cement, envelops everyone. It's relentless. Air doesn't stir. It's stuck on pause. Young and old men sitting on marble steps outside old brownstones and red brick fronts, built in another century by hands that shrunk as they aged, leaning against black iron rails with chipping paint, standing against ancient wooden telephone poles, bare chests glistening with a glaze of sweat like icing, cutoffs packed tight, bulging like melon. It's a candy store, not a neighborhood. Eyes practiced in the Morse code of cruising, a secret language only we know. Cop cars circle the block from sundown to sun up. Inquisitors in blue, desperate to round up heretics who dare to defy the holy heterosexual norm. But first, they have to catch us doing something. Lewd and lascivious conduct, unbecoming men. Vice, they call it at election time. No one's in favor of it. I practice it. Following someone into a dark alley catacomb. The bulb in its only lamppost is always out. My pants are down in a flash. It's a place as forbidden as can be imagined. Suddenly we hear shouting, Alice! Alice! Sounds like a drag queen who's lost a friend. It's Morse code for beware the cops. I walk out of the alley nonchalantly just as a patrol car passes. We are hunted, but the hunter doesn't understand. The perverts run these streets and have no intention of surrendering them. Do we have a second? Or? I'll just stop there. Bye.
Thank you. Give him a nice round. Good guy. Perform already, and he's going to be there on.
Oh yeah, I'm performing on October 14th at Stage Works at 446 Valencia. Oh, right.
There we go. And now Owen Dunkel is up, and then Duduman, come to the get to the on deck chair so you're ready to go.
And then Brent, and then
Yeah.
Alan.
And then after Duduman, we got yeah, Rob, and then Britt, then Alan Harris, who's in the house.
This guy called Freeform Falling. I think about going across, but maybe I should go up and down as the rain pours out of the sky. Or maybe these are words trying to be a poem. Words wander around asunder, actions are. My pencil is poised like a conductor's baton as I moan to take the dirt out of your mouth. As a haunted lover walks on his hands and knees. A quiet poem on a rainy day, after William Carlos Williams. Waves, restaurants, the Bay Street Mall, funny looking shops, wives with their babies, as I gawk my way among the busy tourists, a slick gash of real life as a papier-mâché sea captain goes down with his ship. The SS Curio Shop, with painted t-shirts saying that you are as passive and content as the laughing waves of Aquatic Park. Street sonnet. The quick pace, the puddles, the buildings, a rainy, sharp aftermath of the buildings, the downpour of the day before tried to tell me that yesterday the sky was gray, to tell us that the sky is willing to tell us something about how we fear ourselves. There is a penance about sunny weather, as if it is there to tell us that we have let things down, that there is haste, that the brokers shall roar like beasts instead of jungling in front of sirens and street corners. On rain-soaked 6th Street, I am made to seem alone, non-adamant, my mind a street full of angels, as if my poetry is what I think people should have read, but were too busy being precocious as a flock of sparrows miles above me in the sky. New rain. Another day of old sun and new rain. Another day of not so new that insists on itself and the new of the night and the moon. Pain is pain, and I am made insane when the sky is loose with dew and the frost is beginning to vanish. Canoe ahead, your strokes are sure, as vain as the dark shadows on the ledge. Of course I am a sledge. Moods and feelings cannot be accounted. Edge my thoughts, they love voice. Prudes, stoods, all say theirs, one with a gray air. Days of naysay, kin and kith.
Thank you, Mr. Owen.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to give him a round of applause, and then Rob. After Rob, we have Brooke and Alan. All right. Then the Langoliers. Yeah, Betsy Ross and the Langoliers. Sorry about that.
What a combo.
Yeah.
No texting while reading.
Bitch, son of a bitch! Bitch, son of a bitch! They hung him for the trees! They dragged him up me up early that morning! And they took us out! And they dragged my uncle! And they hung him for the nearest willow tree! They said you could count the bodies that swung unto thee! Oh, oh, oh! boys home and send them to government school. Oh, it's Doodleman! Doodleman's here! Doodleman's there! Doodleman's everywhere! I couldn't believe it! Oh! 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 There it is! Oh! Look! 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 I cannot believe it! Ah! He is! He hopped on the tree of time! Come! Let us go to the graveyard of time! I told you! Why you bring me out here? I am scared! I just could not believe it! Open it! Dig her up! Dig him up! Look! Look! Open it! Look! There's no meat on thine bones! Look! They wake us dead eyes! Come run! Ah! It's doing my time! Do this here! Do this everywhere! The government said they would be good to them, and they break the treaty every time. I just couldn't believe it. They did not want to believe it. At Coal Mountain, they turned again against them, and they said, "Ah, he is. Come, run." There he is. They could not believe it. They did not want to believe it. But goody, they took their children and they scream today. They took them and sent them to government school. They took them from their mommies and their daddies. Do not mind them. What you do is give them alcohol and a smallpox blanket that'll do them in. But they said the greatest is the doodle here, doodles there, the birds do it, the fish do it, everything doodle. And he's walking down the road and somebody said, "Hey man," he said, "What? What?" And he stepped in it and he said, "Oh, it's on the bottom of my feet. It's doodle here, doodles everywhere."
Alright. Woo! He's our mini of the evening. So give him a nice round of respectful applause there.
This is called Jails and Banks. Behold the houses of holy. Frankly, we're fucked. Watch the watering holes, we are way past plucked. Spy the snipping salons of shallow, mercy me, we are mucked. It can't be true, it can't be so, with all the joy there is to know. Silliness, science, symphonies, redwood trees, high trapeze, biracial babies. A meteor shower in the snow, a misty romp under a rainbow. Look at the tanks and justice's scales. I'm sorry, we're fucked. Look at the banks. Look at the jails. We are very, very fucked. Is it possible that birds know us better than we know ourselves? I don't mean individually, I mean as a species. I ask this because I have been hit on the head with bird poop. Now, there's nothing amazing about that, but what is perhaps amazing is that I have yet to find a single grown-up who has never been hit by bird poop. In fact, I have found people who have been struck 5, 6, 7 times.
It's good luck.
Yeah. Now, so you think that's just an extension of the law of averages? I have my doubts. I've been thinking about the physics of a flying bird hitting a human on the ground with a fecal strike. And the more I think about it, the more preposterous it becomes. Let's say that most birds who successfully shit bomb a person do so from 25 to 50 feet in the air. I'm sure that there are higher strikes on record, but I'm thinking about averages. Let's say the average bird weighs 3 pounds. The weight of an average American person is 180 pounds. Wait a minute. The average American male and female is 180 pounds? Apparently, yes. Holy Lordisa, how do they ever miss? In Africa and Asia, humans are around 130 pounds, but I digress. So, if the average backyard bird is 3 pounds, they're actually smaller, but we'll give the number a bump to include the occasional seagull or hawk, and the average person 180, then people are 60 times larger. Ergo, if you're going to translate the physics of a bird poop strike into human terms, to replicate the feat, you yourself would have to hit a ground target from around 2,000 feet in the air. Sounds ludicrous, no? But wait, we've got to remember that each bird is aiming for a target roughly 60 times its own size. So let's see, as it turns out, elephants are roughly 60 times larger than humans. So let's say that we have built you a special platform, 2,000 feet in the air, with sequential poop holes, from which we're going to ask you to crap on an earthbound elephant. Should we make you poop while running, or hanging from moving wire harness to simulate flight? No, we'll allow you to fire from a stationary position, conceding that the average bird is as comfortable in flight as you are standing. But wait, since bird poop comes from bird bottoms, they have no direct line of sight when they unload. They're pooping blind. Well, not really blind, I suppose. If you spent a lifetime targeting in your sights, you'd probably become very good at rear-oriented marksmanship, markspersonship.
Thank you.
But still not quite as good as employing forward-oriented eyes, I should think. So we must add some slight disadvantage. Let's say you have to wear those glasses with the slinky plastic eyeballs popping out from each lens. The increased regularity of bird bowel movements, 13 times a day, will be offset by their average 10-year lifespans. So there we have it. You're 2,000 feet in the air, wearing slinky eyeball glasses and hand-aiming a turd missile at an elephant on the ground. Is there anyone here willing to wager all the money you have on you on a successful shot? How about a penny on within 100 feet? And yet, I know of nobody who hasn't been hit. Can that truly just be chance? I mean, with all that poop falling out of the sky, of course we'll all be hit once or twice, right? The reason I started pondering this was an experience I had with an osprey. We have a nest in our backyard, about 35 feet off the ground. In case you don't know, ospreys can unload a disturbingly disproportionate amount of excrement at a shot. I know this because I have almost been hit by a flying load. And the near miss made me wonder how coincidental it was that the bird would choose the platform edge beneath which I stood to let those feces fly. There were 3 other perfectly good platform edges, but no, I never did anything to this osprey. All I ever did was speak cheery osprey words. So if the birds are aiming, we come around again to my original question. Why? Is it all in good fun? Just some interspecial prankery? Or are birds genuinely pissed at us? Are they making an editorial comment on human behavior? I mean, it's not like we destroy their ecosystems willy-nilly, or enslave, torture, and butcher hundreds of millions of their cousins every year. Is the lesson here perhaps that all other animals would very much like to poop on us, but birds are the only ones afforded the opportunity? I can see that I have much research to do. I'm going to start by holding two turtles above my head, one facing me, the other facing away. And I will just add as a little tack on there, our feature of the night asked us to imagine that buffalo could fly, and now I'm imagining nothing else.
Any of these is Rip, and then Alan Harris, you kindly deposit yourself in the mighty Alan Harris, and then the mighty Britt Peter preceding him. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, my dear.
No, Britt first.
Oh, no, but you're just taking the
Yeah, I'm just taking it.
as we call it.
Right. I thought the week's theme was insanity. It was a good week of writing.
We changed
But I,
switched it on you.
yeah, right. So I've got a poem for that too. Harbor of Regret. No, a shipyard. Empty dry dock. Last day of a short gig. Hipsters, journeymen, old guard, Berkeley boys. Blind Willie's song in the musician's head. The thought as I get older, I fainted what I told her. The blues man headed for the gate. Paycheck in hand, he'll get his guitar out of hock for Bob Burgess. I have two Li Po poems. Li Po thought back to the rivers of his home country, to the rivers he had traveled on, traveling to distant jobs, meeting old friends along the way. The rivers, blood running through the veins of his ghost body, traveling now through a polluted world. I've got to get out of town. Take me to a high, wind-swept bluff so I can again see that river of stars passing. We will think clearly there and talk through the night.
Oh.
Li Po and Arthur Whaley. Arthur Whaley was a great translator from the Chinese, but he hated Li Po. Li Po dropped in on Arthur Whaley, who was working late at the British Museum. The beautiful folds of his gown, the jug of wine. Whaley wasn't exactly pleased to see the traveling immortal. He said, "You can't bring that jug in here," and went on, "I spent 2 months translating your Drinking Alone by Moonlight. A cup of wine under the flowering trees. Your discursive style, your sense of abandonment. I fail to find any meaning or profundity in it at all." 2 months, noted Li Po. I penned another 17 poems that very night. You best devote your time and interest to translating Monkey or the poems of Wang Wei. With that, he vanished, leaving behind the jug of wine for inspiration.
Now, Mr. Alan Harris, and then.
Hi, God. It's me, Alan. Sorry, but I haven't done any praying in a while, and I've kind of forgotten how to do it. Do you need my social security number? I'm guessing you don't. I mean, you're God. You know my social security number. You probably fucking gave it to me. Anyway, here's the thing. Someone I know who apparently hears your voice in his head all the time told me that you told him that you're starting to have a problem with some of my attempts at humor that are at your expense. That you think that I might be pushing this whole irreverence thing a bit too far. That you're starting to get the feeling that I might be skating dangerously close to the thin ice known as blasphemy. that because in the past I have jokingly suggested that you're just a big dick who likes to damn people to hell for trivial reasons like not coming to a full stop at a stop sign, or for letting mildew build up in a shower, or for maxing out credit cards and only making the minimum payments, or for dotting I's with a little smiley face, or for saying nice things about Godfather 3, that because I once playfully considered the possibility that Mary Tyler Moore might be rattling around in hell because you didn't like the idea that late in her career she tried to change her sweet and wholesome image by making a film in which she performed oral sex on George Segal, that because of these jocular suggestions and considerations you might be thinking about damning me to hell. Well, God, if I may, I would like to point out that if you were to do such a thing, you would just be confirming the suspicions of many, myself included, that you have a tendency to damn people to hell for reasons that many, myself included, might consider to be inconsequential. In fact, I'll bet that you're up there right now thinking about damning me to hell for writing this piece, which isn't even meant to be taken seriously. It's satire. You know, sarcasm, parody, spoof, takeoff, put on, pastiche, mockery, lampoonery, whimsicality, comicality, a bit of fun, you humorless, tight-ass little bugger! Oh, great. I suppose now you're gonna damn me to hell for calling you a humorless, tight-ass little bugger. Well, you know what? Go ahead. Damn me to hell. I'll bet that's where all the cool people are anyway. Not so much your Hitlers and your Nixons. I'm thinking more your Oscar Wildes, your Robert Mitchums, your Jimi Hendrixes. So bring it! Bring on hell! But remember this. I want to be a believer. I want to believe in you and your whole goddamned operation. It's you that's preventing that from happening. It's you who's not putting anything into this relationship, who's expecting me to do all the work, to be all worshipful and obedient. How about you worship me a bit? How about you come and pray at my altar? I mean, if you want me to believe in you, God, I need some sort of sign that you believe in me. Thank you.
Beautiful. And now Antoinette Payne, hosting the evening. Give her a nice round, please. And then, you figure out, hey, that on chair, whatever that is.
So this is untitled, but it goes, red tie, tapped floodgates of dissatisfaction. Some love to hate now. Ugly payback demands dominion. Immigrants arrive. Not me, you say. My ancestors, second generation born, roots burrowed deep in Bayview. Other immigrants do not belong. Homeless wither in place. Bees look to purple passion. Sparrows say they want their place. I sit. Crows call out. I answer. Yelling in streets. Young liberal techs call here home. Hold breath through 4 years. Resist, respect, embrace, extend to inclusion. Yeah. Okay. Profound happy meets equal sad when we fill emptiness of being on this planet alone. Curbed hurt takes us to texts, food, intoxication. Instead, go to the depth to buckets of tears without reason. Flip side comes like parking spaces on shopping day, gifted, no questions asked, taken without reserve until no longer needed, knowing we all walk in gratitude to love together. Decoding this meaningless life, old photos of children who disappeared presently evolved to this time. Some weakened by poverty and misfortune, others superior to lack with illusions of wealth, all connected here to complete source who is complete. Temporal order of calendars, clocks, we live linear, not able to see invisible threads without spaces between us, them, it, all.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Bumgarner C. Chapman, no.
I found out who the feature next week is. It's Brian Doherty. He was here 6 months ago. I think he's from Scotland, but he lives in England, so I'll have a whole lot of fun. Not to mention that I knew I had it somewhere. Thank you, and give Buford a round, please.
This has two titles. One is President Suck, and the other one is The War Continues. This was written the 3rd of March in 2012. Unlike Bush, who kept troops in Iraq, Afghanistan, and any other damn place he pleased, with slow and deliberate process, too slow for some people, and certainly the loved ones of soldiers who were over there. Obama is pulling out troops now, trying to end such grief caused by Afghanistan and Iraq. It's hard to say how everything will finally end. Oh, that's a terrible thought, huh? And let's hope the president doesn't get advised for the generals to string things out in those two countries. The wars need to end from the U.S. and everybody else's perspective. The, quote, leader of the free world, president of a country with a Bill of Rights, something a lot of other countries don't have. People criticize Obama, which is a citizen's right, but the alternative is a big money party conservative. Who the hell would that be, huh? And we're not talking, quote, money to the people, unquote, men. We're talking big time conservative money Republicans who will shore up the ultra rich 1% and let the 99% starve, or at the very least minimize programs for the poor, ensuring that they stay where they are on the bottom. Will all the bleak prediction Republicans would, quote, protect U.S. interests abroad, money invested in foreign lands and military installations there. And there goes Obama's effort to bring universal health care to those of us who need it, which is plenty. Politics in a presidential election year is heightened, of course, but the citizens are always affected by government policy. Starving in the streets, even having less than first-class housing and food is absurd, even in a recession or depression, whichever it is. We, the people, are having what we're having in this country. This is still a rich country. The money just needs to go to those who really need it. Newt Gingrich, the northern-born carpetbagger from Georgia, doesn't care if we all go down the economic drain. He's part of the party running the faucet.
And then Garrett, if you want to come up and get on the, all right. Give Sarah a round of applause. We haven't seen her. After that, we have, a series of people before we get back to children.
How did I let this down? Was there a technique to it?
Yeah,
right
now,
this
that's it.
Oh, loosen it. There you go.
That's good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Just get really close to the mic.
Close, okay. I'm kissing it. You said I couldn't kiss it. Those are part. Those are the rules. Okay, let me find what I wrote. It's not really a poem. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it is either. Sorry, guys. There it goes. Okay. As I observed, many people were enveloped in their phones. They weren't aware of their surroundings. It was as if technology began to take over. Nobody would people watch. Gone were the days when people walked past each other and would speak. Detrimental, how people were so segregated, subconsciously afraid to speak to the opposite race, afraid to even look within my face. Where are the days when there was only one race that exists, the human race? The wind was soft but subsequently bold. The fall leaves begin to change colors. In the air, well, it didn't relinquish a pleasant smell. Just a few blocks away, there was more life and happiness within the alcoholics and crackheads. They would smile and speak. They played old tunes and ate sandwiches that the church offered just around the corner. The working class was suffering. Yes, the rich and the poor. The rich spent many moments at their jobs without knowing The rich spent many moments at their jobs without knowing. The company offers dry cleaning, fitness gyms, and clinics all within one building. Sounds like jail to me. The poor, the working poor, work to live, to survive and stay afloat, perhaps paycheck to paycheck. I sigh for humanity. Different. Many races fill the pavement. Lighter faces feel complacent, as if maybe they're out of place or maybe I am. Young man jokes with his friends, enjoying life. He pulls out his phone as if it's a gun, just joking around, and that's when my heart sunk. Afraid for him, afraid for me, as if across the street the police don't linger. It filled my thoughts to say something to him. So I did, and it went a little like this. Boy, don't you know they'll shoot you? He said, oh yeah, oh. Ridiculous that they fear you, so they'll pull their gun. Disheartening that I have to even have this conversation.
Greg, you're going to be on the, Garrett's up and Greg's on the on deck. And then Jim and Wendy, then Evie. And then Then Gostock McPherson, famous Philadelphia McPherson.
Marlon Brando giving us solidarity.
Marlon Brando plays Coach Cheese.
There he goes.
Mirror image. You come to the mirror. There you are on the other side. The reflection of what might have been had your road been different. Looks familiar, does it not? And yet there you are, looking at yourself as yourself looks at you. Clearly one of you is seen from the heights as the other you, though perhaps content as well, somehow in a way seems to look in long, and the one may inquire if this was worth it. Your two selves stare at each other and decide and indeed was. You mutually smile as you come to terms with each other and possibly say, look at us now. You indeed did make the right choice. Walter Mitty, you are not. The sinking tower of rhymes with Crisco. Like present-day imitators of Yertle the Turtle, the city parents and developers did it this time. All they really had to do was attempt to build a new transit center, but of course, who do we think we are? Anyone can build a simple transit center, but we're SNF, the city that really knows how. There's nothing going higher than we. We'll build us a transit center capped by a building that'll really help to build us up to the stars. So they build up and build up and build up some more, and behold, that tower was built, a marvel of the ages. But what's that odd sound, that sinking sound, not quite the burping sound of a mech, but equally ominous? A gas roars out, and it's plainly clear that that tower has begun to sink like poor Alice into the earth. Those developers might have dared to rise to the stars, but it appears they may really sink to the fallen stars. They really should have known that to build up on sand, softening up the gold to our gases. So sorts of hubris of city leaders and builders. But you can never keep a big ego down for long. Hey, look on the bright side, at least we've done Italy a few better. They just have a leaning tower of Pisa, but we have, ladies and gentlemen, the sinking tower of, oh, well, you know.
I love that. Now the Honorable Greg Pond will hold fourth and fifth and
then
sixth.
Shem on the undeck chair.
Shem is up, and then we got Wendy, then Evie, then Hal, then Nicole. We got you on here. Yeah, come on already. We got some time. And we got Jacob, because Jacob's going to close it out. So don't worry. Don't let me forget that.
Jacob's going to close it out.
Thank you.
Oh, by the way,
By the way, Jake is gonna go. Okay, sorry, Greg.
No, no, no
Come
problem.
on.
Here.
Huh?
Okay.
Hey, thank you.
Ow!
Okay, the theme is insanity. Right? Is that
No,
correct?
no, actually, you're part of resentment, but you can go with
Oh, resentment. Oh,
No,
resentment.
don't worry about it. Yeah.
Oh, goodbye.
No. We already broke the mold several times. Why stop now?
Insanity.
All right. This is 5150. And for those of you who may not know, it's a code for, keeping somebody under 32-hour watch without their consent because they are crazy.
Playing behaviors.
Exactly. In my deepest nightmare, a rickety elevator opened to assign an arrow for north. A jangle of keys and locks, double-arm escort, then left alone in a box, to be lost in relentless back and forth, wondering all the while why these tiles never smile at me, as I pace endlessly between these mental walls. No one believes me, so completely quiet, no one can feel me moving in cat-like stalk, for the prey in my imagination between these mental walls. No one would conceive my presence possible here, that I could lose grip and have done some shit that's just crazy. They say that's just why they've detained me between these mental walls. They say those seeds were planted long ago. I only tried to hurt myself. I didn't mean to hurt a soul. But they got me locked down so tight in this loony hole where I know I don't belong, where no one hears me call, though I hear my own voice reverberating between these mental walls. They speak to me in sessions one-on-one, on cautious eggshells, guessing their dumb questions ahead of time. If I only had keys, I'd unlock some doors, sneak to another floor, and find a way to escape from between these mental walls. Later, all gets quiet. Medication falls in place. Lights out, secure restraints. While me, myself, and I'm just a buzzer away from attendants racing down long therapeutic halls. Suddenly, I'm so tired and bored. Maybe the need for rest matters more than who's right or wrong. Now they say it's just a short sabbatical, expected to end in fall. But who really knows what will winter win, or if they ever let me leave and finally pass between these mental walls. Kaleidoscope. Looking through the kaleidoscope of life, I see bits of my reflection in each multicolored section, asking the same old questions. Who are you? Where are you headed? And why? But then there are times when I'm too easily bruised by the blues. My lens shifts a bit out of focus and my vision gets compromised. Those are the times when I look deep in the mirror's eyes. All I find is an empty sheet of glass. And when I see nothing looking at me, then I look nothing back.
Now Shem and Wendy on the, oh, she knows.
Okay, first I have a gift contribution. This is my grandfather, Murray Korngold, died on January 16th, 2017 at age 97. It was 15 days after his birthday. And this is called First Draft, A Life to Talk About by Murray Korngold. It's a memoir. And it's a great read, so somebody will be lucky.
Okay. Wow. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
I have this really long 6-part poem that I've been trying to memorize, and so I got the first part memorized, I think. I'm gonna do that real quick. And it definitely has some resentment harbored in it somewhere. Maybe leading to insanity at some point, probably several times. Blue luck inverted, an upside down 4-leaf clover, purplish, more red than dead, but still no better off for time spent in service. Overgrown and sulky, stuck in a quagmire, in a tinny little boat, rowing in place. Nostalgic for a dream that seemed like destiny at the time, but never really manifested. True love converted, like a Sephardic Jew who, in order not to be caught in the snare of a Spanish inquisitor's plot, surmised it would be wiser to hold his tongue, hide his faith and pride inside, resort to artifice and bide his time. Identity deflowered by a lustily papal penetration, architectonically tonifying in its rapaciousness. Consciousness invaders, creators of a new self, erected for the soul, erected for the sole gratification of an expanding avarice, empire churches gone wild, ecstatically chanting chapel dirges, drunk on success, newly minted mental prison interior design services, reconfiguring our every thought, impulse, and urge with interrogative precision. And that's part one of that poem. So it started a long time ago, you know, the conundrum we're stuck in now. Okay, and this is definitely a poem about harboring resentment. Losing to win again, a secret transgressive fuck you to the traps and the trappers, a tried and true reliance on passive-aggressive non-compliance, a certain unglued sense of stuckness that one comes to rely on, a reluctant truculence that holds on to its fear with a sneer and a shot of the heart stuff chased with a beer and the nicotine hug of a bummed cigarette. My failure transcends you. You can't make me do it. You can't make me hate you. I will abide and endure. All the procedures and protocols, all the desert crossings and cages, all the shit jobs, all the arbitrary authorities, all the not so random acts of violence and cruelty, all the excessive squandering of resources to protect your profit margin, all the killings, people, plants, animals, ecosystems, oceans, planets, all the yanks and all the levers of power you employ just to expose you as weak and seedy, reeking of greed and the sour stench of an insatiability that can only be slaked, even if only momentarily, by causing more harm. Like dystopian narcissuses, oppressors in dehumanizing others enslave themselves to the demon pimps and panderers they have become. Or, I don't know, maybe the end is the beginning. Imminence is transcendence. Permanence is ephemeral. The pearl of blood contained in the dewdrops of a dawning day has no inner meaning, and the inner is the outer, and the true mystic is the committed doubter, and the clam is the chowder, and the thundering sound in your ear is the rumble of hooves from the galloping steeds of the 7 horsemen of the apocalypse, and it was all written, but there is no answer from the whirlwind, and the Messiah will never come, and the question should not have been asked in the first place. Or like old Sourpuss Sartre once said in a much more complicated way, or rather said many, many, many times throughout his life, we have no choice but to make a choice, make our own meaning in each given moment. We are not free to be determined, but determined to be free, and that sometimes is a cold, lonely place to be.
Wow. Yeah. Now, Wendy Walters is coming up. Do a nice round of eating.
Wow, that was a great resentment poem. Oh, dripping. Dripping with resentment. Okay. A good friend of Dan's and mine is moving away from the Bay Area, but he'll be back
for a while to do some jobs, but his name is Bob Dewhurst, and he has been here a number of times.
Yeah.
And I enjoy his poetry very much, and I wanted to honor him tonight because in a few days he's going to be skipping off.
Yeah.
Or Friday,
Friday
tomorrow or
morning.
Friday, yeah. So this is a poem from a collection he did a while back, a little after I moved out here. Because you're the gift, I bring you nothing. I ask for a poem. You show me a quiet pool of rain, newly fringed, grass streaming up frayed, thread-like. In the pool, I see myself, a cold silver moon, wobbles like a bubble as I breathe, drinks me up for a moment. I know there's no path to find, there's no way to lose the poem you gave me. I hold it in my heart. When the heart has melted, the poem runs out through my fingers, back into the quiet pool of rain that seems to shine with flames streaming out, frayed, thread-like. The old man cackles and twirls a feather. So what? We laugh. Is this 3 minutes?
Yeah, you got
recommended
at this point.
Okay. And I'd like to eventually read some poetry from people who have left the earth. And tonight I want to read one of Johanna Wedgwood's, who was the host here before Dan came on. It's been since 2010, I think. Okay, this one is called One by One. One by one, they awoke. The children gathered and began to remember the songs. The words awoke in their memories. One by one, the old songs came out and inspired new dances. The children knew the words were borrowed, but the memories were brand new, being made up as you go along. They sang. The words became new. And we're with you in spirit, Johanna. And you're with us in spirit. Okay, so this last one, I really like this little prose piece I found by Araya Mountain Dreamer, a native elder.
Yeah.
It's called The Invitation.
The Invitation.
Do you know that one?
Oh.
You probably know it by heart.
Never heard of it.
I don't know it by heart. But it doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dreams, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals, or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, be realistic, or to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can hear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. I want to know if you can be faithful and therefore be trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even if it's not pretty every day. And if you can source your life from God's presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours or mine, and still stand on the edge of a lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes! It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after a night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done for the children. It It doesn't interest me who you are, how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else fades away, when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself, and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. Thank you.
Thank you. Evie? Did I say it right?
Evie.
Evie.
Whatever you want to call me.
Yeah,
That's right.
I'm going to get that right one of these days.
It's okay. No one does, but you know, we can help. Let's see, David. Is that good? That's good. That's good.
All right. Thank you. And then we have Al and then Jacob.
Okay.
Get ready.
Back to where we are. I've been talking poems into my phone. So here we are at 24th and Mission. This one was not in the newspaper. The bus shelter in the small, cruel rain was not in the newspaper. No one reported it that it was 10:30 that night. No bus in sight. None. The old, but perhaps not so old woman nodding over her shopping bags at the end seat in the corner of the shelter. If you bought the newspaper, this was not there. Straining her neck to look down the street, she leaned over, yes, perhaps to see about this bus that was supposed to come. She leaned 1 inch further and toppled off the seat and rolled into the gutter. There was no newspaper in sight. I would have said so if there was. But there was no newspaper except some blonde, skinny-jeaned young one who showed up in the city, perhaps on this night. He disappeared. No black old junkie woman, no, not for him, vanished. As I leaned forward, I dropped my cane, held on to the cutting air that night in the gutter. Just hold on to my scarf, I said. Neither one of us had any balance, just she and I. Is there no other world than this one? Perhaps this is already the after time, I thought as I held her arm and tried to steer us both back. And now we were about 15 feet from the shelter, in the street, not in the newspaper, just the two of us. Unremarkable. Now we are both on the bench, just us and the bus shelter. Surely the bus would come. Surely some small piece of sweetness might fly past us, and we are not in them. Here comes the bus. I look toward her. I'm hoping she will take my arm, but I am knowing she won't. I board the bus. She stays behind. She and the shelter. I turn around as I get seated in the front of the bus with my cane. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I turn around as I get seated in the front of the bus with my cane. There is, from out of nowhere, the skinny-jeaned young one who reappears. I gasp.
Now the Honorable Hal Robbins, and then we'll have Jacob closing us out. Jim Moran, please sneak us up here. Suffer from anemia as well as
The Sands o' Dee by Charles Kingston. Oh Mary, go and call the cattle home, and call the cattle home, and call the cattle home across the sands o' Dee. The western wind was wild and dank wi' foam, and all alone went she. the creeping tide came up upon the sand, and o'er the sand, and round the sand as far as eye could see. The blinding mist came down and hid the land, and never home came she. Oh, is it weed or fish or floating hair, a tress of golden hair, a drowned maiden's hair among the nets at sea? Was never salmon yet that shone so fair above the stakes on Dee. They rowed her in over the rolling foam, the cruel crawling foam, the cruel hungry foam, to her grave beside the sea. But still the boatmen hear her call the cattle home across the sands o' Dee. To an Ancestor by Ruth Stone. Sir, will I know your voice in paradise, when I am free of the loutish flesh and risen above anguish, yea, perceiving without eyes? Before my turn, you loved the flesh that dies, even as I marveled upon the compact prison. Sir, will I know your voice in paradise? Then, more than now, the meat was beset by flies, the appetite and soul by guilty fission. Above anguish, yea, perceiving without eyes. My speaking voice still turns the tunes it tries. Here where the fire is mortal, I press on. Sir, will I know your voice in paradise? You, who before my grandsire could surmise, spewed your descendants in a grand emission above anguish, yea, perceiving without eyes? When my real ear that in the flesh ear lies joins with the several parts' eternal mission, sir, will I know your voice in paradise above anguish, yea, perceiving without eyes? Thank you.
Thank you. And now,
Nicole.
Nicole, and then
Jacob.
Jacob. Thank you. Is Nicole here? Did she? I thought she was up. I think she. Nicole. She was there, but I don't think Nicole's here. I thought she was waiting, but I think she didn't. She wasn't sure she was going to. Yeah.
Actually, left, I think.
Okay, all right. So Jacob, our country club is super duper bulldozer. Give him a nice time. Take care of these prizes. And Morgan Freeman said he can't be here tonight.
Yako.
So I wanted to end on more of a positive note. And a writer friend of mine asked me what is the best writing advice I'd ever got. And I didn't know what to say until I talked with Jack Hirschman. I had a few conversations with him and he gave me some advice. And this is called Endless Threshold. After finishing my second public poetry reading in San Francisco's North Beach, I waited for the audience to clear and walked up to Jack Hirschman, a renowned poet and tonight's master of ceremonies. Jack, do you have any advice for young poets? He muses on this for a moment, then says, open up inside and let poetry write you. This sentiment has helped align me with my higher purpose. It applies to poetry and written word of any kind. Far too often we writers try to play editor and scribe simultaneously, each line preconceived. The blank pages can be daunting. With the notion of, I want to write this, it has to be perfect in our head, we start to overthink about writing instead of actually writing. Prior to meeting Jack, I was a writer who wasn't writing. I'd drink because I thought that was what writers were supposed to do. My typewriter always seemed to mock me, so I'd kick it until the keys eventually abandoned ship. I'd pretend to read for hours, then go to my notebook and rip out each page, cursing myself for becoming a serial killer who preyed on unsuspecting trees. I'd give up and watch movies with the sound off until I fell asleep. We allowed the procrastination to take its toll. I'll write the next great American novel, but first, coffee? Each story already resides within us, a mixture of our memory, dreams, emotion, and experiences. We just second guess ourselves. Flow state is our true state, when our mind and the page coincide in perfect unison. The words stall when we forget who we are, or when we neglect why we dared to put pen to paper in the first place. By looking inward, you are able to channel all your experiences, all the people you've encountered through your lifetime, and see the world as is. Writing is not calculus. There is no secret formula. Be open to the world, surrender yourself to the page, and let the words flow. In Dead Poet Society, Neil Reed's Dr. J. Evan Pritchard's theory for understanding poetry, which is a long one, but I'll just say the first part. How artfully has the object of the poem been rendered, and 2, how important is the objective? Question 1 rates the poem's perfection, question 2 rates its importance. Professor Keating dismisses this theory, calling it excrement, and expands with, we are not laying pipe, we're talking about poetry. Writing is writing, it's that simple. Find your writing routine and stick to it. Following the routine of legendary writers won't make you write like them, and it sure won't be kind to your liver. There's only one you, write like you. A compilation of words, often called a book, is the soul's confessional. There's no scale to truly weigh its greatness. Just write. There's a reason we have drafts, revisions, editors. Let it all flow out of you, then transition into editing. Be open to the page and open to this beautiful chaos we call life. The words will follow. A quick, I just wanted to say this real quick. So this is a poetry journal I started called Poesía Libre, and it was originally started by Ernesto Cardenal, but he can't print. They weren't allowed to be printed anymore because in Nicaragua, Daniel Ortega has censored a lot of things. And so, if you know anyone or you yourself would want to contribute, please get in contact with me. It doesn't have to be about Central America specifically, but it's going to be poems of protest and poems of resistance. So yeah, you can also email me at jacobsandigo@gmail.
We have each other's email, right?
Yeah.
So if you know me, I can get you in touch with him. That's my email.
Have a good
That's
night.
another way to do it. But see him about that. Thank you, Jacob. Well done. And now we have reached the penultimate age of the universe. We're going to take care of these prizes. Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes. And then cutting. She is cutting the deck so that you understand that I am not shuffling these things in my own best interest in mind.
Stick around.
All right.
Alan.
Number 15. Oh, the introduction to the prizes. Socks.